Hello, everyone. Wowzers, what a crazy day. Hello, everyone. Hello, Karen. Sorry I'm late, everyone. Hello, Robin, Tim, and Deb. Hello, Cody and John. Good to see you. Ready for a taste test. I haven't even put the link up on the Instagram, so hopefully nobody's trying to link through that way. I've just failed this afternoon. Anyway, that's okay. I'm here. I've got my wine, got my snacks. Hello, Kay. How you doing? Good to see you. We've got a little group today. Oh, 10 of you. Yes, it's nice to see. Okay. So exciting times here at Moorooduc. We have got 4 dogs. We've got little Willow, who belongs to my sister and brother-in-law, and my niece staying with us, and she's causing absolute pandemonium. So they're all locked out there. They'll probably come through and say hi. Hello, Nareem, and how is all the dives today? Good to see you. Got my wine. Karen sent me the most ridiculous photograph of all. That's hilarious, all the sauces that you've got. And so I know that there is at least a handful of you who are doing the taste testing as well. You'll also have noticed on the link that I sent out today that we've got the new box organised, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Very exciting. Robinson 2019, Kate. Oh, well, that's okay. The Robinson Pinot Noir 19 will be lovely as well. And it'll do, if you're doing the, hello, Peter and Karen. If you're doing, what am I trying to say? If you're doing the taste test with the different sauces, and I'm going to show you a couple of them because my vinegar and my soy sauce obviously are a little bit sloppy, but I've got some sriracha, and I've got some homemade plum sauce, which is sweet and spicy. I've got a little bit of poached chicken. Let's get some wine in the glass. So Karen, are you on your own today, or have you got your family with you? Usually, if Craig's there, he does the typing, but maybe you've taken over. Hello, Paul and Ros. Lovely to see you. Let's get this wine in the glass. Oh, tell you what, I'm ready for this. Joan and Karen with fabulous snacks and sauces all ready to go. Excellent. Good work. All right. So let's have a little talk about 2019 Pinot Noir before we get tasting with food. So we'll do the wine first, and then we'll bring the food in. Craig's in Canberra. Oh no, he's missing out a lot at the moment, isn't he? That's no good at all. We miss him when he's not here, but I'm glad that you guys can join. So nice glass of Pinot Noir, 2019. So this is the newish release, the 2019 Estate Pinot Noir. We released it over summer, and so I don't think Kay will be able to tell me. I don't think we've done this wine with Drinks with Kate yet. We might have done it as a preview, but I'm pretty confident that we didn't yet. So this is hopefully, I think, the first time we've tasted this wine. It's getting to be a bit more of a challenge, trying to find wines that you haven't tasted multiple times and trying to think of ways of coming at them so that we can taste the same wine again, maybe 6 months, 12 months later, and see how it's evolving, but also tasting it for different things. So we're working on that. No, I didn't think we had. So 2019, quite a small vintage. The wine, it was slightly difficult weather during flowering and fruit set. So we got a small crop, but we got small bunches of small berries, lots of concentration, lots of skin to juice ratio. And so all of the Pinot Noirs that we made out of 2019, I think were delicious. There just wasn't a huge amount of them. This wine has done very well in various tastings. Hugh and Hook really liked it. He rated our 2019 as his favourite Mornington Peninsula Pinot Noir from the vintage. So that was pretty exciting. And this was, I think, his 6th favourite wine from the vintage. So that's also pretty cool. I love the fact it's got quite a deep, dark cherry red colour to it. But it's still, Polly's just come out to say hello. That's who I'm patting down here under the table. It's got a beautiful black cherry fruit aromatic, but also I agree, Cotty, it's quite savoury as well. It's got a slight meaty mushroominess coming through. It's got this lovely, it's almost like a teriyaki kind of soy spice to it, which I often see in years like this where we've got quite a lot of concentration from a cool year. You get this kind of soy savoury, it's almost like teriyaki chicken, but just the sauce rather than the chicken. There's a little bit of sweetness there too, probably just smelling my poached chicken. I'll just move that away from the edge of the table. You've had your dinner. As well as the black cherry and that soy teriyaki kind of note, there's a really lovely spicy herbal note as well. I think the wine's really quite intriguing, and it's going to open up. I've put a little bit too much in my glass in my excitement, so I'm just swirling it gingerly at the moment. On the palate, it's quite an explosion of savoury dark fruit. It's very different from the 2018 vintage. There you go, Richard. Richard's come by with some empty glasses to pick up the bottle. It's got, so the 2018 was really all about, it had this beautiful purity of fruit. It was really bright. It was red and black cherry. There was a bit of spice there, but the fruit was right at the fore and right in the core of the wine. This wine has got some savoury and some dark, rich, almost sour cherry fruit, but it's got a lot more of that meaty, earthy, mushroomy kind of aspect to it. The tannins are very firm, and the acid is nice and tight as well around the palate. So you get this. It's more of a savoury palate, but it's got this lovely juiciness in the mid palate, which I think is really nice. It will open up quite a lot as we look at it, but let's there's even a little bit of pepper spice in there as well as some cloves. And I think this is going to be a really interesting wine to match to these different flavours that I was talking about. Now, my inspiration for this was a few years ago, I went to a Szechuan restaurant in Melbourne called Dainty Szechuan. I highly recommend it if you can cope with chili. Szechuan cuisine has got a lot of chili spice in it, and it can be quite challenging if you're not good at chili, but the flavours are amazing. I went there with some friends from America who love our wine. It's obviously quite a long time ago, because it's before we were exporting wine to America, and they said they were only in Melbourne for one night. They were going there because they'd heard all about it. Anthony Bourdain had said it was the best Szechuan restaurant he'd been to outside of China. So they had to go there, but they said, can you bring some Moorooduc Estate wine for us to drink, because it's BYO. I said, well, I don't think they're going to cope with the flavours of the food. And one of the friends said, well, I can't cope with chili, so I'm not going to be eating. I'll just drink wine and you guys can eat the food. And so anyway, I brought the wine. The Chardonnay was very challenged by the spice, but amazingly, the McIntyre Pinot, and I think it might have been the 2013, so it was quite a warm year, quite a lot of richness, quite a lot of sweet fruit there, lots of structure as well. The Pinot Noir went amazingly well with the chilies. And I think, we talk about matching food and wine, and Deb and Rob, we were talking about spicy Korean food a couple of weeks ago. And I think that while chili and other strong spices can change the way a wine is perceived on the palate, and you might not get the purity of the wine on its own. Oh, good. Thank you, Cody. You've had a little taste. It is opening up and evolving quite fast since we released it at Celador. I think it's a delicious wine. It's a bit of a change from the 18. So I think if you've been drinking a lot of the 18, then you come onto the 19. It's a little bit of a shock for a moment, but I think it's very delicious. It'll grow on you. It's very Moorish. So Pinot Noir for me, and it's got this kind of chocolatey cherry chocolate kind of a note to it as well as it opens up, which is really amazing. So Pinot Noir for me, particularly Australian Pinot Noir, particularly this kind of sort of structured but fruit-rich, complex Pinot Noir from the Mornington Peninsula and from Moorooduc Estate, I think can work really well with spicy food. It's going to taste different with those spicy flavours, sweet flavours, spicy flavours. So when I was first, hello, Sam, how are you? Welcome, welcome. We've just tasted the wine. We're just starting to talk about the food and wine matching sort of concept before we get into it. So, and if people are like starving and I'm talking too much, I would recommend that you dip whatever it is that you've got. Actually, before you dip it into any of the sauces, just taste it. I'll do it now with I've got some, as I said, I've got some chicken, not very sexy, but it's a protein and it's a good carrier. So on its own, little bit of your protein with no dipping sauce, and then some wine in the mouth at the same time as the food. Hi, Sarah. Hello, Trix. Good to see you. So with the chicken, it just brought out the cherry fruit of the wine. The chicken tasted a little bit meatier when the wine sort of met it. I haven't put anything on the chicken at all. So the chicken's pretty bland in and of itself. And what I was first thinking of was Peking duck. And I don't know if Anne is here tonight, but she always talks about, I get the Peking duck in the lover duck from the local supermarket, zhuzh that up with some pancakes, some hoisin sauce, perfect with Pinot Noir. And I think that is absolutely a really good way to go if you just want something that's easy to cope with and that works well. If you're not into meat, you can substitute mushrooms, fry them in a pan, maybe crumb them a little bit to give yourself a bit of texture. But having a fairly bland but toothsome protein to start off with is important because you need something to chew on and you need something for the wine to kind of work its way around. Now, because I've poached my chicken, it's not fatty, it's not crunchy, it's not crispy, it's a bit boring. So, hello, Jack and Zach. How lovely to see you. Oh, no. You'll be able to catch up when you get home. So I've got some rice wine vinegar. I've got some soy sauce. I showed you my homemade plum sauce, which you could, if you didn't have plum sauce, hoisin sauce is a good substitute. I'm not quite sure what's in hoisin sauce, but it's sort of sweet and spicy. So it does the similar thing. And I've got my sriracha chili, which I'm going to keep for last. So I'm going to dip some chicken into the soy sauce first because that's basically soy and earthiness. I'm going to get quite a bit of soy sauce on there because I want my chicken to really carry that flavour to my palate. And then I'll pop that in my mouth and then I'll have a sip of the wine. You guys do the same thing. Let's talk about what that's doing. I love soy sauce. So the chicken suddenly tastes better because of the salt in the soy sauce. And it's got that mushroomy kind of note to it. I used a light soy sauce. But with the wine, it kind of, for me, it sort of dulls the fruit down a little bit and it makes the wine taste more savoury. It's got that kind of, you get a little bit of the cherry fruit, but mostly it's the mushroomy, earthy, spicy characters of the wine coming through. And then the tannins sort of go away because you've got that saltiness and the tannin and the salt kind of work with each other and cancel each other out a little bit. It's really, I think soy as a flavour is an amazing match to Pinot Noir. So if the worst comes to the worst and you're having a really bad day and you just want a lovely glass of Pinot Noir and something really simple for dinner, just do some very simple fried rice with maybe a little bit of bacon in it if you want a bit of bacon, but just with a bit of onion and some peas and some corn in there and then lots of soy sauce, and that's just gonna absolutely rock your world. Kay got lamb koftas but work nicely with rice, wine, soy, sesame sauce. Very nice. Excellent. Yeah, because you can start to mix up your different sauces, and because I was rushing a bit tonight, I forgot my sesame oil, but that's okay. What I'm going to do next is, oh, here we go, binging. Jeremy's there, needs this. Okay, excellent. All right, excellent, goodo. Jeremy's just telling me when I'm working tomorrow. Karen, dulls the wine a little bit, absolutely. So as a kind of mouthful, the wine makes the soy taste better, but the soy doesn't necessarily make the wine taste better. It makes the wine taste more savoury anyway. So let's have another sip of the wine to get that soy out of our mouth. You can rinse your mouth with water as well. I did suggest you brought a nice big glass of water today because it's easy to get carried away with the food and the wine and then all of a sudden you've drunk a lot of wine quite quickly, which is Not always a terrible thing, but you know, we're trying to be scientific. I know all the dogs are out here now. It could all. Oh, hello, Willow. Willow, no. She's chewing the cords. Great way to kill my sister's dog. We did. I thought we did it last year, Kay. Anyway, it's changed a lot. Oh God. Here, look, that's Willow and Polly. just to Polly's like, get that puppy away from me. All right, chicken and vinegar I'm going to do next. And I'm going to dip in a little bit of soy sauce just for a bit of salt. So if you want to mix your soy and your vinegar together, that's probably not a bad way to go. In fact, I might do a little bit of that because vinegar on its own is pretty boring. If you've already made up a nice soy and vinegar and sesame oil sauce, then that'll be even better. All right, soy and vinegar. Here we go. Oh, hello, Willow. She's mad. Well, that's really interesting because the vinegar makes the wine taste more red fruited. For me, my little bit of rice wine vinegar there takes that dark fruit kind of depth, chocolatiness away and makes it more red fruited, more tangy. And it's probably a little bit of a trick to the senses because we always assume that fruit that has higher acid is less ripe. So is that what's making the wine taste more red fruited, i.e. a bit less ripe than it would without the vinegar? But matching acid with wine is quite tricky. So how did you guys go with your those of you who have got something acidic, some vinegar in a sauce or a lemon juice in a sauce? I think it can be quite. The wine makes the food taste better. Does the food make the wine taste better? I'm interested to know. Richard, I might need a little bit more wine. Excuse me, Richard. I might need a little bit more wine that you've taken away from me. It's a bit crazy over there. Thank you, Dad. Just leave it there. Thanks. Awesome. So what did you think, guys, of the vinegary sauce? Nobody's commented, so either you're not doing vinegar or you are unimpressed. I'm going to move on to the plum sauce just to keep things moving because we've probably got other things that we want to talk about, right? Samantha, loved the soy sauce, thought the vinegar dulled it. Yep. The late add-in was a Kewpie roasted sesame dressing, fabulous with the wine. I bet soy and vinegar made the wine. Yeah, Cody, it did. Sorry, Karen. Hello, Jeff. Hello, Linda. Thank you. Well, the sound is what it is. Okay. Sweet chili, I think, could be very good. And Kay, you are tasting the Robinson 2019, which is a little bit more red fruited. Nareem's having it with lime flavoured corn chips. Fantastic. Well, I'm about to have some sweet and spicy plum sauce on my next bit. That looks like I've killed something, but it's plum sauce. Right. That's really interesting because the sweetness of the plum sauce and the spiciness of the plum sauce makes it taste more fruity, which is not surprising. It brings up the cherry flavors of the wine. So I think that's pretty nice, and I would recommend a plum sauce or a hoisin sauce with Pinot Noir. A little bit of spice, but lots of sweetness from the fruit. I think it's pretty yummy. Yeah, I really like it too, Cotty. I think the plum sauce and wine combo is terrific. Sorry, Jill and Richard are not doing a great job of keeping it. They do have 4 dogs to control at the moment, so it's all gone. Polly. Shh. Good girl. Plum sauce and plum sauce is really interesting in a good way, and And I think if you have like an Asian plum sauce for dipping sort of spring rolls or dumplings into, that can be really lovely with a Pinot Noir. It brings out as I say, it brings out the sweetness and the spice of the wine. Now, my last bowl is chili, and I know that some of you have had sweet chili sauce already. Peter and Karen, you've got 54 million different sauces, so you'll have to tell us what your best sauce is with it. It sounds like the Kewpie roasted sesame dressing sounds pretty awesome. And I do think sesame oil in small quantities is pretty good with Pinot Noir. Again, the oil content and that kind of strong sesame flavour brings the spice and the fruit of the Pinot Noir to the fore. So I'm going to go in for my sriracha, my chili. I'm just breaking my chicken up a little bit because my bits are a bit big. So I'm going to get quite a lot of chili because I want to challenge myself. But yes, chili and Pinot Noir. Everyone says chili and wine don't match. I think it's very interesting. And we'll talk more about chili in general. Here we go. Good luck, Sam. So first of all, the chili kind of masks everything. So you get the hot chili burn. Oh, Jackie, thank goodness you're home and you've got some Pinot in a glass and you're sitting down. Phew, and breathe. So I'm still getting the afterburn from the sriracha. And it's very easy to try and use Pinot Noir or wine to try and get rid of the burn. And in fact, wine makes chili burn stronger. So if you're eating a really spicy dish, wine is going to make the spice more intense. But what I think chili does do in the right levels is, hello, Matt and Claudia. Lovely to see you. Welcome. Oh, Cody, I'm so sorry. Have a big glass of water if you've killed your taste buds and go back to one of the other sauces. Go back to the soy, and I think that will work for you. Sriracha is really tricky, and I think if you did a little tiny bit of sriracha, or if you had some Mexican chilies, which can still be very hot but have a fruitiness to them, they often bring out the fruit of the wine. Don't worry, your taste buds will come back. They'll be a little bit stressed for a little while. Have some water, which will make it burn as well, and have some soy, or some plum sauce, or some hoisin sauce, something that's sweet, or something that's salty. Will help to alleviate the chili issues. So I think we've proven conclusively that chili is going to kill a really good wine. So Sam has agreed. I think everyone has had trouble with the chili, and I'm sorry to do that to you guys. I think it's important to see how it works. And all of these sort of spicy flavors work to a certain extent. And then you get to the chili, and sriracha's pretty extreme. It's kind of vinegary and spicy at the same time. And a lot of us like it a lot, especially on our South Melbourne dim sims, or on our dumplings, or on our chicken noodle dishes. And then people say, oh, drink Pinot Noir with that kind of food. And it's like, yeah, that's great. But if you have it with sriracha, it can be really difficult to taste the wine at the same time. But thank you, Nareem, because after the chili has faded from your mouth, the wine tastes really fruity again. And I think that's the reward. That's the reward. And if you're eating spicy food and drinking beautiful wine, you need to eat the food and then wait and then have a sip of the wine after your palate's got over the spicy food. Makes for a long meal, but it means that you can appreciate the deliciousness of the spicy food, and then you can appreciate the deliciousness of the wine as well. And yes, all that fruit's come racing back. My palate's kind of still burning a little bit, but I can taste all that kind of dark. And again, it's dark cherry and it's chocolatey and it's got some little herbs and spices, but all the soy and all that savouriness has gone away for the moment. So it looks really kind of juicy fruited, quite different from how it looked before I started putting different spices on my palate. I think the other thing that's worth mentioning is there are different levels of spice in different types of cuisine. And I think the Szechuan example, because in Szechuan cuisine, there's a lot of chili, there's also a lot of ginger, and a lot of or a lot of garlic. And I think if anyone's done the garlic thing, which I didn't have time to do, Cotty made some black garlic paste, excellent. You expected it not to work. I think that black garlic paste would work really well with Pinot Noir. It'll make it taste a bit weird, a bit different, but it could work very, very well. So, Samantha, have you got a sore tongue still? Joan said she's happy to enjoy the wine on its own. And I agree, Joan. This is a wine that you can drink with no food at all, or with something quite bland and not spicy. But we Australians like eating spicy food. And, we go to Thai restaurants, we go to Indian restaurants, we go to Chinese restaurants, and we eat chili sauce on our food. So, and then we wonder how we can match it to wine. And I think some of you will find that was a more successful match than it was for some other people. Rob and Deb really like their homemade Chinese style plum sauce best. Rob and Zoe like the plain roasted duck breast. Yes, a little bit of mushroom. And that's the thing. Duck and mushroom is such a happy combination for Pinot Noir. And it doesn't have to be a French duck and mushroom dish. It can be more Chinese, kind of roasted duck, Chinese mushrooms, bit of soy, bit of garlic, even a little bit of chili. But if you go hard on the sriracha, you're probably going to make the wine pay the price. So I think that can be really tricky. I think if you also had time, if anyone had time so Cotty and John have done the black garlic paste. If you got fresh garlic and mashed it up. So this was actually something that I had at this Szechuan restaurant all these years ago, and I thought it was amazing. And it was probably partly because everything else had chilies on it. And we had like this dish that was chicken that was buried in dried chilies. It was like it was a little shocking, delicious, but shocking. And the dish that they said, you must order this because it will cool your palate, was batons of cucumber that were absolutely smothered in freshly minced, mashed, pureed garlic, fresh garlic. And I think that's really all there was there. But it was really lovely. And I think that cucumber and garlic is surprisingly cooling. And I think that garlic flavors work surprisingly well with Pinot Noir, even when they're in large quantities. And even if you can cope with raw garlic, and some people have less tolerance for raw garlic than others. But if you can cope with raw garlic, then it can be quite fiery, but it can be quite a delicious match to Pinot Noir. If your taste buds have recovered a little bit, Karen, love that dish. Yeah, deep fried chicken bites drowning in dried chili. I know, and Karen, it sounds absolutely insane, but it's really delicious. It's got this kind of depth of earthiness and the chili's hot, but it doesn't seem to hang around in the way that some chili dishes do. So it's pretty awesome. So the wines, my taste buds are still recovering from that sriracha. Paul's in Sydney. Oh, yes, Sam, you can keep the vampires away with a bit of raw garlic. So if you mince up some raw garlic, or get a piece of toast, like toast a bit of bread, and then get a garlic clove and sort of smush it into the bread. That's what they do in Spain. A little bit of salt on top. Garlicky bread, Pinot Noir is awesome, really delicious. So yeah, there's lots of really strong flavors that can work with these wines, and sometimes we're a bit precious about, oh no, don't match it to this and don't match it to that, and it must have this and it must have that. But I think sometimes you can push it a little bit far and you go, okay, well, maybe I'll just keep my sriracha to go on my dim sims at lunchtime when I'm not having a glass of wine, and I'll enjoy a couple of little, slivers of chili on my duck at night when I'm having a glass of wine. I think getting the quantities right is quite interesting. Oh, Connie's telling us more about garlic. Excellent, thank you. Different garlic varieties have different flavour profiles. I think we'll do a taste test with each of our varieties. I think that would be a great idea, Connie. Just mash it up and sort of smear it on some bread, or you know what to do with garlic. But yeah, give it a go, and I think that garlic can be different depending on how you handle it, chopping versus crushing, all that kind of thing. So you can get quite technical with your testing different garlic varieties and different ways of preparing it. But I think that it can work really, really well. One of the best dishes that I've had with a glass of Pinot Noir, like this it wasn't the 2019, but it was similar in its profile, was just a really simple pasta dish with really good olive oil, really good garlic, really good Parmesan cheese. So, and a bit of salt and pepper. And I think that those things do really, really good things. So Karen has worked out the hoisin increases the wine's salty, spicy side. Absolutely. And I think that's what the plum sauce does as well. I'm going to go back there for a bit of plum sauce, and then I'll dip it in. Oh no, I'm making a mess now. Dip it in a bit of soy as well, because hoisin's got that saltiness to it. Does anyone know what's in hoisin? I think it also brings out the meatiness of my chicken anyway. The plum sauce brings out the sweetness of the wine. Sweet chili, very nice with the lamb kofta, which does have garlic in it, Kay says. So that's an interesting point. Those of you who've been doing this with me for a while might remember when we did the Philadelphia cream cheese with the sweet chili sauce. I think it's a bit of a 90s kind of a party thing, with you turn out your cream cheese on the plate and then pour sweet chili sauce over it. But it is rather lovely and rather delicious. So we did do that once before, but I do recommend it again, because sweet chili sauce got a bit of a bad name. I think sweet chili sauce and sun-dried tomatoes both were very sort of late 80s, early 90s, and people overdid it and kind of moved away from them. But sweet chili sauce is delicious, and as I say, with a bit of cream cheese and a cracker and some nice Pinot Noir, that can be a really awesome match. Jeff, good to see you. Well done. Congratulations for getting out of hospital. Lovely to see you. Glad you're enjoying Drinks with Kate. That's fantastic. Hoisin has a fermented soybean paste as a base. Okay, thank you, Google, and thank you, Karen. For me, hoisin's always got a sweetness to it, so I'm wondering where that comes from. Maybe it's from the fermentation, but I love the complexity of hoisin sauce. It's one of those kind of weird sort of flavour profiles that you can't quite work out what it is, but it's delicious. There's probably the MSG in it or something. So my little, who's sending me? Deb is sending me a picture. I'll look at that later, Deb. Hang on. Oh, here we go. Hoisin sauce. Deb sent me the recipe for hoisin sauce. Thank you, Deb. It's got 1/4 cup of soy sauce. It's got peanut butter, honey, rice vinegar, sesame oil, garlic, black pepper, miso paste, or spicy fermented bean paste, or got Kwan, or plus 5-spice powder, or Thai chili sauce, and 5-spice powder. Wow, that's complex. Well, there you go. Hoisin sauce has got lots of things in it. Spicy things, sweet things, fermented things, delicious, earthy, mushroomy, umami flavoured things. And this is the other thing that I wanted to talk about, because I think we talk about all of the different flavours that we get. Can you see Polly's tail? She's really trying to get attention tonight. Hello, Polly. She's over my shoulder now. Umami is a flavour profile that you can taste on your tongue that is the flavour of soy, mushrooms, meatiness, tomatoes, all sorts of things. And that umami flavour is, I think, a flavour that works really, really well with Pinot Noir. So if you think about Pinot Noir and you think about the classic matches, we always talk about duck. We always talk about mushrooms. Soy, we've discovered, works really well with it. So umami flavoured food seems to work well with Pinot because it sets off the fruitiness, it sets off the spiciness, it sets off the velvetiness of the texture of the wine, which I think is really awesome. Well, team, has anyone got any other comments about this crazy spice mix thing? I also would like to know, last week I sent out a recipe and a couple of you had fun cooking it. Would you like me to send you a recipe every week to go with Drinks with Kate? You don't have to cook it, obviously. I'll give you some other options. But if I send you a recipe that's not too complicated, is that a nice addition to the Drinks with Kate option? Yes, please, says Jeff and Sue straight away. Excellent. Good-o. As you've already given me that. Okay, Paul and Ros are onto it as well. Good. Excellent. All right. Good. Jeff and Sue, you can't answer twice and try and trick me into thinking that more people are answering. So we'll do that, definitely. I'll find a recipe. Joan says yes. Good on you, Joan. I'll send you a recipe. If it doesn't appeal or if you haven't got time or whatever, I'll send you another option that is easy, like Manchego. Good work, Sam. I think a bit of Manchego with Pinot is never a bad way to go. So we'll do a recipe. We'll do a nice. We'll always have our fallback cheese matching option or something simple like that. And you guys, most of you guys have been doing this for long enough to really have a pretty good handle on what you think is going to go with what. So I will throw up some weird things sometimes, and sometimes they'll hopefully be fabulous matches, and sometimes they might be slightly weird and maybe slightly challenging matches, like the sriracha tonight. So trust me, but don't trust me that everything's going to be fabulous. So, oh, good, Peter and Karen. I'm so glad. Oh, Connie, I'm so glad that you enjoyed this. I think it's fun. It's fun playing with different flavors, and I think that it's a good thing to do every now and again. We will come back to the chocolate and cheese kind of a tasting later in the year as well, because I think that's super fun. We've got another couple of weeks with this box. And again, of course, I haven't looked at what we're tasting. And Peter's, oh my God, Peter, you've taken the box off the website, so I don't know what's coming up next. We haven't? The new one, the old one? The old one, the one that we're drinking through now. You do need Craig back to type, Karen. It's okay. It's all good. Manchego, brie, and breadstick. Awesome. I think, the spicy works well, but you just need to be a little bit careful with it. And different types of chili will do different things. So Pete and I have been playing around with the website, and we took the old box off and put the new box on. And I remember what it is, Pete. The next week we're doing Rough Play Pinot Noir, which is our experimental Pinot that hopefully Jeremy will be able to jump on and have a talk about as well. The Rough Play Pinot Noir is a wine that we foot stomped, and we gave all sorts of we fermented in bags first of all, so a bit of carbonic maceration. And we foot stomped. Anyway, I can't remember what we did to it. We'll talk about that next week. So next week we've got the Rough Play Pinot Noir. It's a 1 barrel special Drinks with Kate exclusive. And then the following week we've got the last one from this box, whatever it happened to be. Yes, Sam, the apple tasting we will do again. I just have to look back and see what we did it with, so we can do it with something else, just to kind of remind our taste buds to behave themselves. And then we're going to have a week's break where we'll do a cocktail, mocktail, something, and then we'll get started on box 2, which is just hit the shop. You've got a link in your email that I sent you this afternoon. we're going to be looking at the 2013 vintage. We've got 4 wines in a row from 2013. It's going to be awesome. We've got a couple of other wines at the end of it. So we've got 6 wines in the box, but it's a pretty special box. We're going to do a little bit of this kind of focus on a vintage this year. I think we've got enough of those wines in the museum to have a bit of a play with Drinks with Kate. So watch this space. If you're interstate, get your box 2 organised as soon as possible. We're going to send them out as soon as you order them. We're going to start drinking box 2 at the beginning of April. So we've got about a month. Very exciting. And that's probably where I should stop, because I feel like I'm blathering now. Blathering and blithering and blithering. So anyway, it's been awesome. The next box will be amazing. Karen, tell Craig to stop working so hard. Bring all your friends and family along. It's going to be awesome. Love you all. Take care. Have an ace week. We've got quite a lot of fruit to deal with this weekend. If you are coming down anytime soon, please let me know, because I'd love to show you around what we're doing in the cellar, because there's all sorts of things going on. We've got the pizza lunch coming up in a couple of Sundays' time. We've still got a couple of spots for that. It's going to be awesome. It's not just going to be pizza. There'll be wine. There'll be people. It'll be ace. Thank you, Kay. I can always count on you to let us know what we did when. So that's awesome. We'll do the apple tasting sometime later in the year. Until next week, unless you're here before then, take care, everyone. Cheers, and see you soon.